All right. Hey.
Hi.
Anytime it's a couple of weeks between when we do this, between when we do it now, it's always kind of fun because I always feel like we're just like kicking the rust off or something, you know.
Yep.
So
Slow build up.
it is a slow build-up.
Yep.
So welcome to Trekcast, ladies and gentlemen, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. I'm Chad. That's Dan. That's Daniel. Be sure to give us a phone call and leave us a voicemail, 816-287-0448. Tell us all the things we're doing right. Tell us all the things I'm doing wrong, and we'll play them on the air. So with that said, it's been a couple of weeks. It's been a while. There's a lot happening in everybody's life. It's we're getting ready to get into the holidays. It's cold all of a sudden. I went to Atlanta for the week when it was like 70 and perfect all week long. Come home last night wearing shorts and a sweater, and it's 22 degrees. So I froze my butt off.
Yeah.
But, definitely fall is gone and winter's here in Kansas City. So how have you guys been?
We had a heat wave.
Did you?
I was out doing yard work in, tank top and shorts the other day. It's fun. It's weird because it's like all the leaves are brown. They're on the ground. I'm out there with the leaf blower, but I got tank top and shorts on. But
nice.
Whatever. I'll take it.
Tats out, right?
Are all the leaves brown and the sky's gray?
Yes. Yeah. Actually.
Sing it in unison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the leaves are brown.
And the sky is gray. And the sky
is gray.
On a
You're
winter's day.
Yeah.
We lost an audience member doing that.
It's gray.
Yes, we did.
It's definitely gray. It was.
He's back. He's back.
It was election day last week, and it's kind of been gray ever since.
Was it?
Oh, wow.
Was it? I ignored all of that, which was crazy because I was in Atlanta, right? So, of course, the big, gubernatorial race there. And, of course, we had a hurricane come through, and I missed all that, too, because I was inside a convention for 18 hours a day is what it felt like. I didn't even realize that the hurricane went through, so.
Yeah.
Over here
New Yorkers decided that they like their crime rate and their tax rate.
It's just keep it, right?
We want them both up there. We want to lead the nation in both. Yeah. So whatever, man.
Whatever.
I got like 9 years until my Space Force pension kicks in.
Yep.
And then I can literally go wherever I want. So
you need to come move to Idaho with me?
I might.
Yeah.
I told my wife, start looking.
Yeah. Well, there's, you could also move to Idaho, but then actually be in Oregon because 3 counties decided this last week to become part of Idaho. 3 counties in Oregon that are not even on the border.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know.
How does that work?
I don't know how that works, but that's what they voted for.
Well, no. So I know a little bit about that because it's a big deal over here.
Yeah.
So in order for that to happen, Idaho has to pay Oregon for that land and any infrastructure that's there. So if there's like federal government buildings or whatever, and Idaho is not footing that bill. Sorry.
Yeah.
This comes up every few years. I fully expect it to come up again. The demographics and the cultural differences between downstate New York and upstate New York are so different, and the population of New York City compared to the rest of the state. New York City basically controls the state government. So every few years, this push comes to separate it and create 2 different states. There's a whole plan out there. It's been floated a bunch of times to, give New York City and Long Island would be New York State. Everything else would be New Amsterdam. And, that would be it.
Have you heard of something called the readout?
What's that?
Have you heard of something called the readout?
The readout? No. What is that?
No.
So it's a big thing over here because they all want to become their own nation. So they want to take North Idaho, parts of Montana, the eastern part of Washington, a little bit of Oregon, and become its own independent country. And they're calling it the readout.
That's just a stupid name. Welcome to Political Cast, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we're going to break down the dog catcher race in Michigan against Michael W. Smith and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah. Well, you know what? when I decide.
Wait, isn't Michael W. Smith a Christian singer?
Yeah, I know. I just made up the two. I just pulled the two names out of my head. I have no idea why those two names were there first. I really don't know.
Yeah.
All I have to say is if that area you just described changed their name and called themselves the Maquis instead, I'd totally be on.
Yes.
I'd be moving there tomorrow.
I mean,
that is what we need to do.
Into the branding.
That is exactly what we need to do. Honestly, seriously,
Yeah,
we need to try to get somewhere, somehow, on a ballot somewhere, some sort of Starfleet Federation type regulation. Like literally, just be totally blatant about it, and try to get and see if it gets on the ballot somewhere. To get enough signatures for it, just anything, kind of like.
So what you're saying is just make a bigger joke of our political system.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just an even bigger joke. Cool.
2016, we had a guy running for president who literally put his name down as D's DEEZ nuts, D's nuts, and he was literally on the ballot in multiple states. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure there's parts of the country he'd be elected just on that.
Of course he would. I mean,
yeah.
Look at the people who've been elected to Congress and Senate, to the House and Senate. Yeah,
it's wild, man.
On all sides of all parties,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
all parties. There's people who've been elected across all the spectrum of both parties and all the other weird parties like Green Party and Nader and all those guys. Ralph, who's tried to run for president since the cherry tree was chopped down.
I do like there's a guy, I want to say it's in Arizona, who he bought like 1.5 acres of land, declared his own country.
Did he call it Pretoria?
I don't remember what he calls it. But he basically he allows people to get tours of his own country. He sells his own currency that you can buy as a novelty.
Yeah.
He likes to say yes, I'm a dictator, but I work in conjunction with the U.S. Of course you do.
He's
a benevolent dictator.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So back in the early 2000s, and then we'll get off this topic, but this is kind of fun. So back in the early 2000s, there was a group of guys who, out of the .com bubble, had a lot of cash left over, weren't exactly sure what to do, were kind of tired of the United States regulations and ups and downs and all that. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. Kind of tired of the ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. And so what they did is they bought a derelict oil well offshore off the East Coast. It's far enough off the coast, it's technically in international waters, and they purchased this thing and renovated and ran lines out to it for internet connection and declared it its own nation. And this thing lasted for about 10 years where it was their thing. It was its own country. They had their own taxes. Only certain people could live there. You'd have to fly out and back on a helicopter. They brought in food, but they had power generation. They had internet, and they were hosting. They turned it into a giant server farm. That's how they were making their money. They were hosting sites from all over the world, and they had no regulations on them whatsoever. I don't know if that thing is still going on or what. I don't know. I've kind of lost track of what happened to it. You could probably Google it and find out if it's still a thing. I don't think it is. I think something happened where they ran out of money or ran afoul of some sort of law somewhere, even though they were in international water. But I remember it being a big thing for quite a while. They had a huge server farm. So,
well,
it's called Sealand. I don't know enough about it yet, but
yeah, Sealand.
I think SeaWorld sued them for copyright infringement, trademark infringement.
Yeah, that's probably where all the bird drones come from.
That's where the factory is. It's offshore, so nobody can ever find it.
And it's why? Why do you let them say these things?
Yeah, no, it's great. The conspiracy theories are wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, with all of that,
theory,
let's get into the news. We ready for it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Star Trek News.
Did we do an intro, or we just go straight to the news?
Trekcast. The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
Sure is.
Yep.
There you go. There's your
I
intro.
love
And
Well,
fading out early,
intro again.
so you can go right into the news. Play the news intro again?
Well, yeah, that's the order of things.
Okay, here we go.
Star Trek News.
Wasn't that the Dominion? Is it the Dominion who used to say that's the order of things?
Yeah,
That's the order of things. Yeah.
It's the order of things.
Victory is life.
Indeed.
Well, it wasn't the Dominion. It was the guys, the
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jem'Hadar
Yeah.
specifically
Guys.
would say that. Yeah.
The guys.
The guys.
you know?
Yeah. The white guys. The white get yourself people.
What? Yeah, my favorite one was when Cisco was like, "So we got to beat those guys. The guys, we have to beat them."
Yeah. with the
Oh
horn
my
things and
God.
the white tube and those guys. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know what they're called. We'll just kill them. Kill them
Yeah,
all.
it's like I'm listening into this crap when I could be saving dogs.
Yeah.
Anyways,
my
our first news
God.
story comes to us from trekmovie.com, and the headline is Zoe Saldaña thinks the delay on Star Trek 4 is more than just scheduling. So, yeah.
No shit.
What is
Zoe.
it,
They
right?
didn't.
No
They
kidding.
didn't get my script yet. That's what the delay is.
No
Yes.
kidding.
They didn't get my script because I wrote it this morning in about 20 minutes while I was on the toilet. But go ahead, we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's going to be our main topic in a little bit, guys. We're going to talk about our pitches for the Star Trek 4 because they clearly can't get it together.
They can't
So that's
get
why
it
I brought this
together.
news story. So basically, she was recently being interviewed on a podcast, and she talked a little bit about what's going on with Star Trek 4 because that does come up quite a bit, and I imagine she'll get more questions as she gets ready to promote the next Avatar. But she says, we were in touch with JJ, and we were trying to see if we were going to be able to get things moving this past fall. I didn't think it was possible. I have my sort of ideas that maybe it was just like the schedules, like they couldn't manage to get the whole cast together, the whole crew to come together. But I think it has something else to do with the whole project. I don't know if they're all on the same page. We'd love nothing more than to come back together. Well, yeah, no kidding.
That was a giant word salad of I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's
Yeah,
what they're paid to
it's-
say.
Yeah. Of course, she wants to come back. They all do. I mean, actor wants money, of course, but
Well, not only that, I mean that is one thing about that cast, right? I mean that cast for that is very special. I've always hold a
Yeah.
place in my heart for that cast, and you can tell that they got along and were having fun, right? Regardless of
Yeah.
all the other stuff and how much they're getting paid and yada yada yada. You could tell they had fun, and there was a real chemistry between the bridge crew of that cast. It was perfectly cast. So
Yeah.
maybe the scripts weren't the best, but it was perfectly cast.
yeah, absolutely. Then our next news story comes to us from The Verge. I thought this was fun, and I thought you guys would enjoy it. How would you like your own captain's chair, you guys? Would you want your own captain's chair?
Yeah, I got room for it. Sure.
Would
Yeah.
you want your own captain's chair with a USB charger and touchscreen display?
Sure.
Sure.
How about a backup camera and party lights and can go 12 miles an hour? Yeah.
Hold on, which captain am I? Captain Pike?
You're Captain Dan Lombardo.
That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like
Yeah.
Pike's Mobile, yeah.
The Pike chair.
So Volkswagen has built their own Star Trek captain's chair, and it goes 12 miles an hour. It's an office
Why?
chair. It's not a wheelchair. Yeah. Why is a lot of the questions you're going to ask yourself with this. It has all sorts of things, and it's got avoidance sensors, collision detection. It's got USB chargers, heated seats on it. It's even got a seatbelt. I watched the video on it.
Seatbelt,
it's-
because
Yeah,
12
oh, you're
miles
going
an
12
hour.
miles an hour. I will put this in the chat so everyone.
You know
can
what?
watch it.
That's true, because if you're going 12 miles an hour and I'm going 12 miles an hour and we have a head-on collision, I mean, that's a 24-mile-per-hour collision. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's even a trunk, just a small pocket, but you can put stuff in it. Yeah.
Can I
It's,
put my junk in it?
I mean, that's up to you. If Danny got back,
Jesus Christ.
it is an office chair and not a wheelchair because it's smaller wheels on it, so you could not really take this outdoors, but you could definitely. Well, we just made a GIF, that's for sure.
What I miss?
The whole baby
Shadow
got back
slapping it
thing
like
and
you owned
everything.
it.
I just
I hate that song. I hate it so much.
I know you do. I even posted about it in Facebook that day. That was like the first time I've been
I
on
know.
Facebook in like 2 weeks. I had to go specifically
saw
on
it.
for
I'm
that.
Like, this asshole comes out of hiding for this?
Yes.
So I don't see
Yes.
anywhere where when and if
All right,
it will be
let him
available.
do the news.
Yeah, I don't see anywhere if and when it will be available, but they made it. You know,
That's
to
amazing.
quote Jeff Goldblum, just because they made it, or what's that line from Jurassic Park? They were so concerned with wondering
If we
they
can,
could do it.
we didn't consider if we should.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So
something to that effect.
So
Something
busy
to that
figuring out if you can, you never thought to ask yourselves if you should. I think that's the specific line. Yeah.
there you go. There
I
you
should play a nerd alert for myself, but whatever.
go. Yeah, do it.
Well,
Do
I'll
it.
Get back to the soundboard because I was trying to look at the.
Oh,
Warning! Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
okay.
I can't see the on-air
And
chat
our
at the same
last
time,
news
so
story
sorry.
comes to us from StarTrek.com, and Prop Store is set to auction off more than 300 props and costumes from Star Trek Picard this month. So they're going to have a big online auction. Actually starts in a few days on the 15th. And starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. Goes from the 15th through the 29th of November. They're constantly going to have all sorts of little things on auction. Some of the highlights include some phasers, some uniforms, including remember the painting they had of Soji?
Yeah.
Yeah, that painting is going to be auctioned.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised the actress doesn't
And
want that for herself.
Well, I'm sure they made like 3 or 4 of them. So
That's true.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
let's have tell you what, they have estimates of what these things are going to go for. I will read the title and you guys can guess what
Okay.
you think the estimates are, and then I'll tell you.
This will be fun.
So
It's like The Price is
7
Right.
of 9, 7 of 9's light up phaser rifle from season 1. What do you think the estimate will be for that?
A light-up phaser rifle?
Yes.
Okay. And 7 of 9.
$2,000.
7 of 9 used it and held. It's the one that she used and held in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, it's gonna be $5,000 just from the fact that she touched it. So
Jan, you said 2?
Yeah, I said 2.
I'll say
Okay.
$6,250 will be the going price. of
Okay. Price of start rules. Chad probably wins on this one. The estimate is 8 to 12,000.
it. Ooh, geez, that's way high. That's like
Yeah.
double.
Yikes.
Well, I guess by inflation, so I guess that's probably true.
How about General Jean-Luc Picard in the Confederation comm badge from season 2? What do you think the estimate is for that comm badge?
$2,000.
Okay.
I'll say 3,500.
Again, Chad wins. It's 6 to 8,000.
Oh, they got their numbers way high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you might want to think about that We'll do 2 more. Let's see. How about the special necklace that Daja and Soji both wore? Like, it was from
$69.
season 1. $69.
Survey says $2,000.
3 to 5,000.
No way. No
Yeah.
Crazy.
way.
That's
They will get
crazy.
lucky if somebody pays $1,000 for that. So who wants? I'm
They're out
sorry.
of they're out of their mind because
Who wants that?
it's a forgettable prop from a forgettable character on a forgettable season
Yeah.
of a forgettable show.
Yeah.
So the one that I think probably stands out, especially for this one, is that painting, the daughter painting with her back turned. from
Oh,
season
I could
1.
see that going. Yeah, I could see that going for a decent.
What do you think that one's going to go for?
I'll say 50. Going off everything, the stupid estimates. I'll say I'll go back to $6,500. I mean,
They're out of their mind, but I'm not saying what I think it'll go for. I'm saying what I think they think
think.
it will go
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say 11,000.
Okay. Chad wins because you overbid. It's 6 to 8,000. They really love this 6 to 8,000 range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything isn't going for 6,000 to 8,000. Sorry, and that one painting, I will say this: I wouldn't call it iconic, right? But it is so synonymous with that first season and figuring out what's going on and what all that stuff means. It does have it has double meanings to it, right? So
Right.
a little bit with Data, a little bit with Picard, obviously with Soji, and all of that. So it's
That painting was heavily featured in all the trailers.
exactly.
Like-
So
Yeah.
there's going to be a collector somewhere who's also into collecting art and going to want that.
Yeah.
For all of the tie-ins. So I could see that one going for a decent amount of money, but
Yeah.
the rest
I
of this
could too.
stuff, I don't, yeah. whatever.
So everything is going to come with a certificate of authenticity from the producers of the show, so that way you know that it's accurate, and from the auction house. And all the money raised, the proceeds will go to the chronic obstruction pulmonary disease research department at UCLA in memory of Leonard Nimoy. So it is going for a good cause.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, studios. Yeah.
So with all these things going on with, like, you know, newer, younger investor, I think Dan's got to blow his nose again. All the newer, younger investors in, like, Bitcoins and NFTs and all this different trading and everything else, art is the one area that just until recently wasn't really affected by all that, because art prices never really go down. I mean, because it's just a specific thing. It's only one of them. Right. And so the value of it never really goes down. And it's always a difficult thing for people to get into. But now there's actually a site. I forget the name of it. I'd have to go Google it again to find it. But there's a few of them. There's a few of them now. Yeah. Where you can go and purchase a percentage ownership of things like, not the Mona Lisa, but things like that. Right. And so you can't afford to buy a painting. But when it goes up on an auction, you and a group of people can go in and buy a portion of that painting, and then it's held, and then you can sell your share off later as the value goes up. It's kind of an interesting.
Well, you can on some of them, you can even sell your shares even before the painting is sold.
Right.
Just like a stock.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's just gambling at this point. There's others that do the same thing with sports memorabilia and other collectibles. So you can buy, stock in a ball signed by Babe Ruth or whatever, Willie Mays.
They've even taken this idea all the way down to video games that have the huge video games that have a giant following, where there's tens and hundreds of thousands of people logging into it, millions of people logging into it every day. Even have NFTs based off of the original artwork and concept artwork of the game itself. There's multiple games that are doing it.
Yeah, but the whole NFT experiment is really just dead.
It is.
As is Bitcoin, especially after FTX, if you know anything about that.
I have tried to follow that, not really, but I kind of get what's going on. So yeah.
Basically, people who were like, how does this work and how does this make money? They were right. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
A made-up currency based off of some unknown algorithm is yeah.
So what you're saying is investing in nothing was a bad idea all along? Surprisingly so.
Got it.
Yeah.
These investors really lived by the first rule of acquisition, which is once you have their money, you never give it back.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Unfortunately, how many other markets were affected by this
all of them.
Experiment?
Yeah.
All of them.
It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more.
It won't be the same as like the subprime mortgage BS back in 2008, 2009, but it'll affect quite a bit. So,
the art one is interesting too, because it's also used as a commodity to like so I have an art collection that I inherited from a pretty famous artist, and I could in theory get it appraised, get that value, take it to a bank, and then say, hey, I want to get a loan and take money out against my art.
Yeah, because the price of the artwork will never go down.
Right. And then that's tax-free income.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I could even, in theory, deduct the loan interest off my taxes.
Yeah.
It's wild what you can do with it.
Well, that was our InvestiCast news segment. If you want more for your perspective or portfolio, please call 816-287-0448. Yeah, financial advice is not sponsored or supported by Trekcast or views and opinions thereof. You make and lose your own money. Okay.
When do we get Dave Ramsey on the show?
Oh, God, no. That guy's an idiot. That guy is flat out an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to the main topic.
Sure.
It's time for the main topic.
It's the main topic.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
So,
I forgot how short that was. I was waiting for more.
Yeah, I've had girlfriends say the same thing.
Wow. Holy moly. Yikes.
Anyways, so our main topic.
Swipe right.
Basically,
Swipe right.
there's nothing going on, so we decided we're gonna fix Star Trek. So we're gonna give our pitches for the next movie and what it should be and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Chad, do you want to go first?
Oh wow, okay, I'll go first.
I think we should let Dan go last.
Why?
I feel like Dan, because I think you're gonna have the most intricate plot.
All right.
You think so?
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. He normally does.
Yeah, he does. He probably thinks. Well, okay. This is why Dan's on the show. Okay, Dan is the thinker. Dan is the guy who can pull canon right out of his head canon, and it's great. So that's Dan is definitely the thinker. I have no idea why I'm here, but anyway. And then of course Daniel is here to produce the show.
It's the soundboard. It's just the soundboard.
That's it.
the
I'm
only-
just here for the soundboard on my phone. That's it.
Well, I don't want you to get everybody's hopes up because I literally came up with what I came up with this morning on the toilet at about 10:15 a.m.
I can't wait.
All right.
Sometimes those are the best ones.
I went through it. I went through it on the 2 plane rides I had last night while I was just trying to sleep as well, because I had to go back and look through our messenger messages to remember what we were doing this morning.
Yes.
All
It was me. I asked last night. I'm like, "What? Are we doing this thing? What are we doing?"
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I better think
All
about
right.
it for a second or two." Okay, so fourth movie. I want to start by saying that I'm of two minds of this, right? So nothing with this is set in stone. But on the first hand, my first thought was I want to see another movie with this crew, this cast. I think they're a phenomenal cast. I have the exact same people back. Everybody, of course, other than Chekhov. So, and I wouldn't replace him either, right? I'd want this thing to take place. It'd have to take place in the future from where we left off. You can't pick up where you left off. Too much time. Characters have all aged, everything else. But I was of two minds. Either it would be a movie where it was an ending and we see Kirk die, right? That would be my first thought, because it's an ending to wrap it up, to get done with it, to move on. Or it would be a little bit of wrap up and move on. I think they have to wrap it up and move it on. But it would either be where Kirk dies and that's just kind of the end of that whole thing, or we're done, or maybe someone dies, but it's a lead off back into the prime timeline where somebody from that cast, I don't care who, or maybe it's a new character from that cast that they introduced in the fourth movie, then winds back up in the prime universe during the time of Pike and Enterprise, before Kirk and all that kind of stuff, because I think that would give a good middle bridge between those movies and what we're doing now as we get closer to the Kirk era with Ensign, Mountain, Pike, and that crew. So anyway, if I was going to do the first of the two where Kirk died, I'd really want it to start, again, when this cast, you can tell there's a chemistry, you can tell they click, you can tell they have a lot of fun. So I'd want that version of the movie, if we were just going to wrap it up, where we start off with them on some sort of whatever mission, nothing crazy, it doesn't really matter. Maybe they're just going from point A to point B. They're having a good time. They're doing a lot of fun activities together, something, right? Something where it's kind of fun. You can see that they've bonded over all the years that we've skipped. Someone's getting ready to leave. Like maybe it's Uhura who's getting ready to leave, or someone's getting ready to get promoted off the ship to be captain somewhere else. And Kirk's really sad about losing his crew, and maybe that's how the movie actually starts, where some of the crew is going their own ways because they've been promoted, right? They've been with him for a long time. He's still captain. He doesn't want to do anything else. He doesn't want to be an admiral. He doesn't want to get promoted. He just wants to stay on the ship. But everybody else wants to have their own ship too. And that's kind of how it starts. They're having kind of their last little hurrah, having a good time. Everybody takes off, and now it's just Kirk with a couple of new people, and he gets in over his head somewhere, some whatever mission that he's got to go to, and it's a fight for their life, and he dies. And it's that simple. And the rest of the crew has to come back to try to help, but they're too late. And it's sad, and it wraps up, and that's it. I mean, it's real simple. You get your action, you get your drama, you get your character development, you get all this cast back again for one last hurrah. And Kirk dies an honorable death where he's not shot in the back on a bridge.
Okay.
That's, that's the wrap up. You could almost do somewhat of the same plot, but if you have a new character involved in it who then winds up going over to Discovery, not Discovery, but Enterprise with Anson, Mountain, Pike, and all those guys, you can kind of do something similar, maybe where they don't all are going off and it's not like some sad stuff, but but it's another one of those, there's a mission they're doing and there's some sort of calamity or whatever, and they
You're
get
talking
involved.
about Strange New Worlds.
Yeah,
right?
Strange New Worlds. I keep saying
you keep
Pike
saying
and its amount,
Enterprise,
but it is Enterprise, but it's Strange New Worlds. Yeah. So, but somehow
Wanna
this
bring
new
back Malcolm.
character, then, gets transported over. You can call it time, you can call it a parallel, whatever it is, however they do it, whatever the MacGuffin is in the movie. They move over to Strange New Worlds, and maybe all you see at the end of it, like maybe even after end credits, you think he's dead, and you don't know what's happened with the rest of the crew, but you see, like, after the end credits, Marvel style, someone coming down or beaming down to wherever this guy's ship crashed, or this person's ship crashed, and it's Rebecca Romaine, and it's Pike, and it's that crew coming to pick him up, and that's where the guy winds up. Maybe you take one of the original cast from that and bring him over to the television show too, as a cameo, and you tie those things in. I think that'd be fantastic tie-in with Strange New Worlds. So you either do it and wrap it up and leave it alone. I guess that's the thought process, right? You either do it, wrap it up, and leave it alone and just say you're done, or you tie it into an existing thing that's going on the television side.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's it. Simple.
Yeah, I like that. So for mine, I would also use the Kelvin crew. I think they deserve, one more shot at it.
Oh, I thought that's what we had to do.
Yeah, well, whatever
Okay.
we wanted to do. Yeah.
All right.
So I would pick the Kelvin crew. So mine would be a two-parter, but with an eye to do more in the future. So what I would do is, there's a new wormhole discovered at the edge of Federation space. We're very going to strongly allude to that it is the DS9 wormhole, but we're not going to definitively say that it is. We go through the wormhole because what are we but explorers, and we're going to go see what's over there. They get over to the other side. They find out that they are in the Delta Quadrant. They come across a planet. The planet has been horrifically destroyed. They are warned of a horrific menace that has been an unstoppable army that is engineered for just nothing but destruction and torment. We're going to heavily imply that it's the Jem'Hadar, but ultimately it will not be. It will be the Borg. That is who we discover it actually is, because they are in the Delta Quadrant, not the Gamma Quadrant. So we're going to see Kirk versus the Borg, something we've never seen. Yeah. So he's going to fight it because it's Kelvin. We can do whatever we want. It's different now, right?
True. Oh yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
Yeah.
No Agnes is the queen and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So Kirk versus Borg, they're going to have a big fight. Ultimately, what they're trying to prevent is it's a single Borg cube, but they get wind that there's tons of more out there, and if that Borg cube can call out and bring more reinforcements in, then basically the Enterprise is screwed. So basically, the whole point is don't allow them to send out that signal, right? They're trying to repair some sort of comm work or something to get that going. So ultimately, the way the film will end is Kirk, just like his dad, is going to sacrifice himself to save the Enterprise. So he's going to send his crew back through the wormhole to go get help, and he's going to ram. There'll be another ship there as a MacGuffin, and he'll ram that ship into the sphere or the cube to prevent it from contacting. So it ends with that. We mourn Kirk. It looks like he's dead. It looks like the crew's broken up. So we think that this is the end of the series. But then in the post-credit stinger, because we have to think of Marvel now, we're going to get a little, caption that says 100 years later. The Federation detects a signal coming up from outer space. They pull up the signal. It does, we are the Borg, your technological, that whole deal. And then, everyone's like freaking out because they know, like they've heard of this, but they've never seen it. They had the information from before. And
Right.
then
Wait a minute. Is it seven of Pine?
Close. We pan up to the camera, and we have our new Locutus, which is Kirk.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so it ends with that he's the new Locutus. So then that way, the part 2 of that story, we finally get Kirk versus Picard instead of them working together. and the Borg has inhabited Kirk's ability to be spontaneous and hard to counter, and that's why they want him in the collective.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's mine.
Cool. No, it's definitely interesting.
All right.
Unique, right? I mean, I don't know how difficult it's going to be to get this cast and crew to get together for another movie, period, let alone two. But I like the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Dan.
Yes.
All right. So I'm not kidding when I say that I wrote this morning. I was actually, I sat down a couple times and tried to come up with something, and I just couldn't come up with anything. And it was literally 10:15 this morning. I'm like, all right, I gotta do something. So I do my best work on the throne. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sat down, pulled up the notes app on my phone, just started jotting down ideas. So it may sound like I'm reading from something. I am. Because I just started jotting ideas down and
Go for it.
put a basic framework together. And there's probably plot holes that I didn't consider that we would have to be fleshed out further. But this is what I got. This is what I got. So the JJ universe, it has this shared history with the Prime universe. Everything prior to the destruction of the USS Kelvin is the same. It's the same timeline. That's the splinter. That's
Correct.
the splinter point.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And that means that many of the things that happened in the Prime timeline are destined to also happen in the Kelvin timeline, or are at least very likely to happen in the Kelvin timeline. And we've seen some of that. You see
Right.
Pike in a wheelchair. You see they deal with Khan again, and so a lot of these things are destined to happen. I had a hard time coming up with story idea because I'm pretty much over the JJ verse.
Yeah.
2009 was a pretty good movie. There were a lot of flaws to that movie, a lot of things they got wrong.
Rushed.
But I still watch it and enjoy that one.
Yeah.
I do go back to that one and watch it and enjoy it. Star Trek Into Darkness is just terrible. I hate that movie. I rewatched it 10 years later, a few months ago. It's still terrible.
Yeah.
Star Trek Beyond, I only saw it once. That's it. I have an unwrapped Blu-ray sitting on my shelf. Never went back to it. Probably never will. Without being really attracted to this timeline, it was difficult to come up with stuff. Not quite as difficult as maybe having to do a disco movie, but still pretty hard. So I decided to lean into the shared timeline thing, and focusing on all the times that the 1701 Enterprise crew traveled to the past, which would be that shared past that both of these timelines share.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
My movie would be a series of interconnected temporal causality loops. Okay, and what I mean by that is we start with the JJ crew. They encounter the probe that we saw in Star Trek 4, the one that's looking for the whales.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so those events play out pretty much the same, except they come to the same conclusion that the original series crew came to, that we have to go to the past, we have to get some whales, we have to bring them to the future in order to save Earth. Okay, except they're not in a Klingon bird of prey because things have played out differently in their timeline. They're in the Enterprise. So they take the Enterprise back to 1986 to get some whales. They arrive during the third act of Star Trek 4. They go out to sea to find their whales, and they find George and Gracie, the same whales from that movie, and they're being pursued by a whaling ship. And they're about to transport these whales to the Enterprise when suddenly a Klingon bird of prey decloaks in front of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, having no idea what's going on, they immediately assess this thing as a threat,
Right.
and it's taking up an attack posture against the whaling ship, and they interpret this as these are 23rd century Klingons that have traveled to our past, and they're about to kill a ship full of humans, and that will destroy the timeline, or at least alter the timeline.
Yeah.
So what do they do? What does the JJ crew do? They immediately open fire on this Klingon bird of prey, and they destroy the original series crew that's in this bird of prey. So they think they're saving the timeline. They actually destroy it even further.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Let's see.
I love the fact that you're taking a movie, a separated out movie that you're not a huge fan of, and pairing it with what some people argue is one of the worst Star Trek movies ever, and making it sound fantastic.
All right, so they destroy this Klingon bird of prey. Let me see. Realizing that the bird of prey is from the future and has no place in 1986, and fearing the death of the whalers would ripple through the timeline, Spock postulates that the correct course of action is to destroy the bird of prey, and Kirk agrees.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
They transport the whales to the future, but when they arrive, their future is not what it should be. Spock assesses the personal logs of Prime Spock, who's now dead. He has his personal logs. He has since unencrypted them, and he's now reading about the adventures of old Spock. He brings this information to Kirk. They decide to go back to 1986 and stop themselves. They convince themselves to stand down. The events of Star Trek IV play out. There's now an Enterprise with our crew in 1986 and a Klingon bird of prey with the old crew in 1986. The JJ crew find different whales in the wild, and they both travel to their futures. The whales are now there to solve the probe problem. Let's see. But the JJ crew, their timeline is still messed up, and they don't know why.
Yeah.
From Prime Spock's personal logs, they make a list of times that the Enterprise has traveled to the past and altered the timeline, and deduce that they are destined to do the same thing. But these two timelines have become so intertwined, it's becoming impossible to make accurate predictions of how events will unfold. They begin moving through time, undoing mistakes that their alternate selves have made. Each mistake they fix reveals another, and also results in another out-of-time Enterprise.
Oh, wow.
So each time they fix something, they're encountering another crew on another Enterprise. They fix the problem, and now there's two Enterprises. Then they fix the next problem. Now there's three Enterprises, because they're not actually fixing the problem. If they had actually fixed the problem, that alternate Enterprise would disappear. Eventually, the Council of Spocks.
I like it.
This is what would happen. This is what would happen. Because I'm thinking, do you remember that episode of TNG where they just, their Enterprises popping up everywhere?
Yeah.
And they had to send out a hail to 6,000 Enterprises.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking of that. Eventually, the Council of Spocks determines that a single event is responsible for the timey-wimey nonsense. That event is the incursion by the Romulan mining ship commanded by Nero and the destruction of the USS Kelvin. The Council determines that the only way to set things right is to destroy Nero's ships and collapse their own timeline. But Nero's ship is from the future and has superior firepower. Luckily, they now have an armada of Enterprises from all of these timelines that they've fixed.
Right.
The final act is the Armada warping in as Nero appears. JJ Prime Kirk gets to interact with his father over the view screen. There's some I love you, there's some I miss you, there's some I'll never get to see you grow up, blah, 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 blah. We'll finally have a life together in this new timeline, blah, 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 shooty, shooty, bang, bang. Many Enterprises.
I hope that's the name of the movie.
Shooty, shooty, bang,
Shooty,
bang.
shooty, bang, bang. Many Enterprises are destroyed in the battle. Nero's ship is disabled. The Kelvin moves away to safety. There are some heartfelt goodbyes. The remaining Enterprises tow Nero's ship into the sun. and they self-destruct. The timeline resets. Chekhov is now still alive. The Kelvin loop is closed. We can move on with the prime timeline. That's my pitch.
Okay, so you'd close the loop.
I would close the loop.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of
I like
closing
that
the
too.
loop. That's very convoluted. I think that would be kind of difficult to pull together, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That was easy. That was like really, really quick.
It was fun though.
Yeah. Well, these are the
Yeah.
kinds of shows that we started doing this. This is the kind of stuff we started doing way back in the day. This wasn't a review show, and it turned into that because we
Yeah.
got constant track all the time now.
Yeah.
The year of Trek. That's what they're going for.
It's close to that, right?
It's
It's really
close.
close to that.
Very
So
close.
it's very enjoyable. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
So I
very
guess we
cool.
should have people vote on which one of those three scenarios they like the best.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it, why not? Either
We'll
send
put
us
up
an
a poll
email.
in the Facebook group.
Yeah. There you go. A poll's easier. Just
Yeah.
put it up in the
We'll
Facebook
poll
group.
the Facebook group and some of the social media, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
So,
sounds good.
right on.
All right. Anything else we need to cover? Oh, I got feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah,
Feedback.
it is
That's
time.
next on the post-it.
It is. I can't see the post-it. It's too dark in here. Here we go.
Let's enter feedback.
Now I need to get one of those little lights, like a little pin light you can put behind the paper so it looks like the paper's somewhat illuminated, and then I can read it. Then then I'll be able to see it.
All right. If you want to be part of our feedback, X up in the chat, and we will talk to you. Did you have any feedback? I didn't even make a post that we were recording today, so
Oh, no.
I don't have any. Yeah,
Let's see.
I've been very busy with some other stuff lately.
Yeah, I was out of town for the last 6 days straight. It was a long thing. Let's see. First feedback we've got is on our charts, our chartables. So even though we didn't have a show last week, we still rank. So in the United States, we fell 43 positions to what ranking? This is
300?
underneath TV reviews. Apple Podcasts,
Wow.
United States of America TV reviews category fell 43 points to what?
300.
208.
Okay, that's not bad.
No. We're not on the charts in any other area other than Australia.
Oh yes,
Guess what number we're at in Australia?
it's like 7. There's nothing going on over there.
Ouch. 201.
Oh, okay.
But
And
they're upside down, so it's 102
Yeah.
Right.
because it's
right.
Australia.
Yeah, because the water goes the other way down the toilet. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then here's an odd one for you. There's a episode 337, Star Trek 4 Father something. I don't know what the full title is, but it's episode 337. For some reason, we are ranked pretty high on that one specific episode in Switzerland. Can you guess what ranking?
Like 8.
Not that high.
No,
Okay, I don't know.
9.
215.
9. Weird.
That's really high though for one specific. It's not very often we get one specific episode, but what's funny about that is 3 weeks ago we were ranked 208 in South Africa for that exact same episode. So I had both those tagged in my emails. I thought that was
Huh.
kind of a weird, funny thing that specific episode somehow caught on in a few areas.
That's
Anyway.
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't think we have any voicemails. I'm going to find the thing on the phone for the voicemails. I'm pretty sure we don't.
No, I don't see that anyone mentioned that they did.
Nope. The only thing I got in my voicemails is a text message saying that my DoorDash food has been delivered to the door. That was it. Okay.
You know what we have not mentioned that we probably should. It is a sad day. Kevin Conroy recently passed.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Batman for many of us, and
Yeah.
he passed away of cancer, is what I've read.
There's
Yeah.
somebody else that passed away this
Gallagher.
week. Yeah, Gallagher. Gallagher passed away this week too.
Yeah.
I used to love watching his crazy antics. smashing watermelons and all that other stuff. The other guy that I used to love watching during that same era, even though I was always watching it on back tapes or whatever, it wasn't live.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name, but anytime I think of Gallagher, I also think of this guy. He had kind of puffy curly hair on the sides. He was always wearing a cap, and his biggest thing he'd do as a stand-up routine is he'd be yelling. He just no.
Oh,
Sam
Kinison.
Kinison.
Sam Kinison, that one. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
passed, hasn't he? A long time ago.
Long
Yeah,
time
like-
ago.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I loved watching his
I
stuff.
just heard it.
Yeah, no. I loved watching his. I still go back and listen to old Rodney Dangerfield jokes and stuff. It's still.
Yeah, he's good.
I mean, they still hit, right? They still work.
Yeah.
30, 40 years later, 50 years later in some cases, and they still work.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, they work because those guys weren't concerned with hurting anyone's feelings like everyone is nowadays. I don't know if you've heard what's going on with Saturday Night Live, but
No.
Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle is scheduled to host an upcoming show.
He already did
and
this weekend.
Oh, it was this weekend?
It was this, yeah. was
Okay.
yesterday.
But I didn't watch it, but
Yeah.
half the writing staff decided to boycott the show because Dave tells me jokes that hurt people's feelings.
Well,
And it's like,
I also think the reason Rodney is so timeless is his humor wasn't topical, like the way a lot of comedians are nowadays, where
Mhm.
it's consistent with what's going on now.
Well, and it's
Like
not.
Rodney was just general.
Well, it's not only that. He would tell jokes like, my wife and I decided that we were going to quit smoking together, and so the only time we'd ever actually smoke is after sex. So I'm down to 3 cigarettes a year, and she's still smoking 2 packs a day.
Right, yeah. But that's what I mean. That's evergreen. That doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like, who's in the White House.
It's not a matter of hurting anybody's feelings. It's just
Yeah.
a funny relationship type of everybody can kind of somewhat, and it's. The best jokes to me, the ones that really stick with me, are the ones where you hear someone talking and it's kind of like a short little story and it's going this way and then all of a sudden the punch, boom, it's way over here, right? And
Right,
so
yeah.
it's
Right.
those are the best, and those can be clean and they don't have to be dirty or filthy and they don't have to be about
Mhm.
someone specific, and
It's why I love Carrot Top.
oh
All
Lord.
his jokes always were.
Carrot Top.
Top.
Oh Lord, that guy, he's
God,
so
no, I do not like Carrot Top.
that guy. I mean, if ever there was anybody who got beat with the ugly stick as a child, it's him.
Wow.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
So
he's strong enough to probably rip you apart, dude.
Oh.
That guy lifts like all the weights.
whatever. He's just I don't care. Like whatever.
Just that would be a terrible way to go. Like, how did you go? Oh,
Carrot Top
Can you
killed
imagine?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got beat up by Carrot Top?
that's
Ugh.
pretty bad. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you bench. If I've got a gun in my hand, you're dead. America.
Oh, Carrot Top will wait till you're ready.
Yeah,
Till
that's
you're not
true.
ready. Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Well, let's. We
Yeah, I don't know how we got on.
I don't
I
know.
don't know how we got on Chad murdering Carrot Top, but let's try and bring this.
Yeah.
Let's try and swing this one back.
Yes.
Let's right the ship.
Who's getting on X or I don't know if
Chaz
he's
is.
yeah I was gonna say I don't know if he has or not, but I'm gonna unmute him. How's it going, Chaz?
I'm pretty good. Putting up Christmas lights today.
Oh
damn.
my gosh, no.
Before
Wow.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we
All right.
decided to do it early.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
fun. We always do it Thanksgiving weekend, typically.
Yeah, I usually do. My wife works Christmas this year, so that's why I was like, let's just do it now. And then she works Thanksgiving Day, so
Yikes.
we're doing like Thanksgiving the day after on Black Friday, so it's kind of a crazy schedule this year.
Right. Do it while you
Yeah.
can. I understand that. that. Yep.
So I told her, like, let's just put them up and get it over with, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
Cool, man.
So
So,
No,
did you hear all the remakes or the pitches?
well, Dan's headcanon coming out of his head. I might have typed it in chat. I don't know if we can say it, but
Oh, hold on. I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
Dan gives us head.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I'm out.
He left.
He left. He really left.
That's hilarious.
It's like, but I actually liked his idea of, was it cause and effect? Was that the episode where they kept on going through on Next Generation? And that's the one with Kelsey Grammer, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back and rewatch that one. That'd be fun.
That's a great one because you watch it, because my wife was watching it with me and she's like, we just saw this scene. I was like, no, you got to pay attention. It's not repeating itself. Just like watch it. And it's such a good episode too.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to explore too, maybe on the next movie, is look at some of the older episodes of the original, Star Trek, and maybe they could make that into a movie, kind of like the Wrath of Khan or something like that. Don't take like a awesome movie that they, like Into Darkness, try to copy too much off of Wrath of Khan, but take like one of those existing characters and maybe play on it.
Okay.
Like maybe like Charlie X,
like a remix
or something crazy. Yeah, just like a modern day version of it. So
Piece of the Action would be a good one.
Yeah.
Piece of the Action. Remind me. That's coming to mind.
That's the gangster one.
That's the gangster one.
Oh yeah, the Gangster Planet. Yeah.
That's the one Tarantino wanted to do.
Yeah, and that would work.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly. Because if Paramount wants to save money, right, they could almost do a bottle show where they don't have to do any special effects like in space and all that and spend all the money on the CG. They could go back in time, make the set of the Enterprise where they're just talking on there, and then have it set on modern day Earth or back in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah, I'm all for those.
They probably save a lot of money doing that instead of spending like $150 million, $200 million on CG.
Yeah.
I don't think they know how to not spend an assload of money, though. I think no, I'm serious. I think
True.
I think that like if the budget is cut, it counts against them, even if they put out a superior product. I think I think if they were going to cut the budget, they should publicly lie about it. Don't tell anyone that you cut the budget. I think it counts negatively. Just hearing that, oh, this one was made for half of the last one, it's going to be terrible. Like, if they're going to do that, lie about it. Lie about it. Tell everybody it costs twice as much.
I mean, look at the few movies, the couple of movies that Neil Blomkamp has done, and the amount of money he's spent on some of those movies versus what he's gotten out of it, and they've been fantastic.
Right.
Some of the best movies ever. I mean,
Well, I mean, that's
kind of. No, it was Chappie that bombed. That hurt Blomkamp. So
I liked that movie though. It was definitely a crazy, wild movie, but I enjoyed it, and it didn't cost them much. They made their money back, even though it didn't cost them a whole lot. But I think Chappie cost them quite a bit more than what they initially anticipated.
I was going to say, I thought Chappie was a flop.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it still made money, but it was a flop in terms of larger audiences. I don't recall. I enjoyed the movie.
I never saw it because every time I hear somebody say Chappie, I think of Iron Eagle.
The Top Gun ripoff.
Yeah.
Whoa. That came out before Top Gun, my friend.
Oh,
yeah,
did it?
Iron Eagle did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you hush your mouth.
Kind of like Top Gun's a ripoff of Star Wars: A New Hope.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's, I don't know if you know, there's a Top Gun lawsuit right now.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was originally based off a magazine article, the first movie, and they never paid the guy for the sequel.
Yeah, because he had the rights to it.
Right, because it's his article.
And so they're taking it to court.
Go away.
It's a movie based on a magazine article. How does that work?
Because the article talked about the original, like that whole training class and Top Fighter.
Go away.
Top Gun school.
If I'm the judge, I'm telling him to take a hike.
Yeah, exactly.
You would think Paramount, like, they made over $1 billion in the last one. Like, just cut him
Yeah,
a check and make it go
1.4
away.
No,
billion
you can't deal with terrorists that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
I mean, legally, he's
You're
got a
gonna put
point, though, man.
No, he doesn't. You
I
wrote
mean,
an
that's not
article.
How the laws work. It's his idea.
Okay.
And he created the article.
Okay. Yeah, he wrote it.
He
He wrote
personal.
an article, and someone took an idea from the article and turned it into an entire movie. And somehow you owe. Okay, so that means if I ever write anything and I pull any inspiration from anything else anywhere, no matter if it's 10%, 5%, 60%, I have to pay somebody for that inspiration I got. Something's not clicking in my head there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It can work that way. I mean, there are people who all they do is sue studios and say, "Hey, that was my original idea." Anytime a movie's announced,
This is why we
studios-
need law
This is
tort
why you
reform.
need
Yeah.
tort reform.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
because there are people who say, "Hey, that was my idea. I'm going to sue for $100,000," and Paramount will pay him $75,000 to go away.
Which is ridiculous
Because it's
it
not-
just makes it keep
It's
happening
not
again.
worth it. It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just makes it happen again.
God. Anyway.
Yeah, that kind of stuff really gets me boiling.
Yep.
Just go
All right,
make an
Chaz,
honest
anything
living.
else you want to give us feedback on?
Who'd you guys dress up for as Halloween?
Me, myself, and I.
You.
I did not
I was
dress up.
I was a Ghostbuster.
Yep, saw that
You're
on
a
Facebook.
Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
I was Jack Porkins. You know who
Nice.
Jack Porkins is?
Jet
Yeah.
Porkins, what?
Yeah.
Warning, warning, nerd alert, nerd alert.
Who is
You
this?
know,
Who is this?
Because they got to name the fat pilot Porkins.
Wasn't
Because,
that Papa Pig's uncle?
And I was Porkins.
I was
Because
in a werewolf. Not a werewolf, in a werewolf.
And a
So I had
werewolf?
Yeah, I had a werewolf costume, and then I had
Okay.
a T-shirt that had like a yoga logo thing on it.
Oh,
So I was in a
I-
werewolf.
I thought you
said
were wearing.
in a
I thought you were wearing your werewolf, but you had like different color ribbons on your chest.
That's right.
You know, breast cancer.
I would have been another
colon
way to do
cancer.
that. Yes.
He's a furry.
That's really what it was right there. He's too afraid to say it, but he was a furry.
Well, it is North
So,
Idaho.
so a few years ago, I got a set of like coverall adult size pajamas. But it was the poop emoji, so they were all brown, and it's got the poop emoji head. And my wife wore it for Christmas. My wife wore it for Halloween a few years ago. Except I made her one of those those things you wear at a party or function that says "Hello, my name is."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So it said "Hello, my name is 2020." And that was her Halloween
Nice.
costume.
You know, for the longest time when, iPhones really started going all over the place and people started really texting on iPhones and you get all the little emojis and everything, for the longest time my wife was completely convinced that the poop emoji was just like a little swirl of like ice cream with a happy face.
Yeah.
She had
That's
no
what I
idea
thought
it
it
meant
was,
shit.
I
Yeah.
thought it was chocolate ice cream.
I wasn't convinced either until I typed the word poop and the phone suggested that.
Yeah.
That's when I knew no, I've been living a lie.
Well, there's that thing that the praying hands emoji is really a high five.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So when grandma dies, did you send one of those?
Yeah.
I still
So
always
there's
think that LOL is lots of love, not laugh out loud.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
God.
Thanks, Jazz. We just went down that
Thanks,
rabbit
Jazz.
hole. Appreciate it, as always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you, man. We'll
Are you
talk
guys
to you later.
doing 2 weeks, or what are you doing next week?
That's a good
Every
question.
other week right now.
Well,
Every other?
if we skip
Okay.
next week, then that means we're doing Thanksgiving weekend, and I'm fine with that. I just want to know that up front. Are we doing Thanksgiving weekend, or are we skipping Thanksgiving weekend?
That's probably
mean,
an offline conversation. I would
Exactly.
think.
Yeah,
and
we'll
then
talk
we'll
about
make
it
and we'll
later.
actually let people know ahead of time.
Yes, we'll let
as
people
opposed
know
to this
We
week.
won't.
Yeah.
We'll just
We're
say
just
that
saying we
will,
are, but we won't. Yeah, you know how this goes.
It's nice intentions. We have the intention of telling you ahead of time.
Yeah. I could. Anyway, I'm not going to make a political comment to that. All right. Thanks, Jazz. Did Bronson X up? I can't see the.
No,
Okay.
we're done. Yeah.
All right.
So two things. Well, one thing, two things, whatever. I wanted to say real quick before we wrap up. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
I finally resubscribed to Disney Plus for the November December time frame. Usually have Disney Plus. Watch old, well, even Halloween, Hocus Pocus, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I watched all of She-Hulk over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed that series. I have nothing bad to say about it other than the finale of it. The final episode was a train wreck, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that one. But it was a horrible way to close it out. But
it was different.
But it wasn't even really fun. But the rest of the show was hilarious. I loved the scene where she's dancing with Megan Thee Stallion. I thought that was hilarious. I will kill for you, and she's like, back off. Whoa, hold on. And she's just such a quirky character. I really like her. I really like her a lot. And I love this thing they're doing with Wang Sorcerer Supreme or whatever.
Yeah,
Wongers, yes, Wongers. Oh, that lady is hilarious with him, and they're just buddies, and they're watching all these old shows. It's and Carmitage or whatever it's called. I thought it was just fun. It's just lighthearted fun. I enjoyed it. I don't get what the BS is about it. I like it.
Yeah, I think the people who have a problem with it are just taking things a little too seriously.
Yeah.
And I think those are the same people that didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought that was a great movie. I took it with a grain of salt. It's a comedy.
Yeah. Haven't watched that one yet.
If you think that the other Thor movies weren't comedies, you weren't paying attention.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's fine. There's plenty of better stuff to be upset about.
Yep.
Exactly.
She-Hulk and Thor.
Right. So then
Well,
after
if you're
that,
upset about She-Hulk and Thor, your life is good.
Yeah.
You don't have problems.
No.
Yeah.
So after that, I started watching. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I can't get through Andor.
Oh, really?
You can't? That's the next thing I was gonna say.
I can't get through. I'm still on the first episode. I'll watch a few minutes of it.
Oh, you gotta get. Yeah, no.
My mind is wandering. I'm looking at my phone, and
So the first episode. Yeah,
I'll get through it. I'll get through it at some point. It's just it's tough.
The first episode is a little dry and it's very slow.
Yeah.
But man, I'm caught up. So I guess there's 2 episodes left.
Good, right?
Right. Oh, it's fantastic. It's so good. In fact, I'm trying to get my wife and kid to watch it with me today. The first episode. I know the first episode is going to be tough and it's going to be difficult for them. But if they get
the first couple are tough.
Yeah, but they're not as tough as everybody says, though. I don't think. If you just get through it, and then by the second episode, it's interesting to me. So
here's the thing. I can't help but compare it to other things. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And the birth of the modern, what I like to think of the birth of modern Star Wars on television rather than in the movie theater. Okay. The birth of modern Star Wars was 3 years ago. Episode 1 of The Mandalorian. I think it was 3 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think of that first episode, that first scene where he just swaggers into the bar, gets into a fight, chops the guy in half through the door, takes the other guy into custody, and walks out like John Wayne in in Star Wars armor.
Yeah.
I remember watching that thinking, this is gonna be great.
Right. Because it's an action show.
I don't get any of that from Andor.
Andor's, it's weird. It is Star Wars without Star Wars. There's no lightsabers. There's no Wookiees. It's a political thriller.
It's definitely a spy thriller. That's really what it is. And the guy that plays Andor is so damn good. His facial expressions and everything else, he's fantastic. And so I know some people, some of the stuff I've read, and I think, Dan, you made this comment too, it's hard for you to get into something where you already know the ending, because we know Andor dies in Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
And so I get that. I understand that thinking. But at the same time, I still want to know about George Washington, even though he's dead. I still want to know about, certain things, even though I know the ending of it, right? So it's kind of like we're watching history. This is the thing about it that I love so much, because it's so deep and layered. The first episode, not so much. But after that, when you really start to pay attention, there's so much depth to it. And you're filling in so much of the history of how the rebellion started. That's what this show is about. It's just as much about Andor as it is about how the rebellion actually got started and how it got funded, who started it, why, who was putting their lives on the line and the consequences for that. I mean, for crying out loud, Mon Mothma is one of the main characters.
Yeah,
you don't know anything about her from all you see her in A New Hope is she's giving some speeches and everybody's, oh my gosh, it's her, and you're like, well, who cares? Who's this? Nobody knows who this is.
It's amazing that all of this is built off one throwaway line in episode 4.
Yep.
Where like so many spies were killed for this information.
Yep. And here we see it, and here it all is.
Yeah.
And it's so thick. Skarsgård is fantastic. This last week's episode with the little speech he gave, I mean, that could win an award right there. Andy Serkin is fantastic. Circus?
Yeah,
Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Like
it's
Circus
spelled
Delay?
different.
Huh.
Yeah, it's spelled different, but it's
I think
Circus.
differently of him now, knowing that he was an ape in Planet of the Apes. Anyway, so wasn't he? Or
I
no,
love
he
that
was
they're doing the Rise of Snoke.
Was he that or what? Yeah, the Rise of Snow.
Yeah, he was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, but he was also Lord of the Rings Gollum, wasn't he? Or no, who was that?
Yes,
he was Gollum. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why he calls Andor my precious.
He's like the Tom Hanks of motion capture.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Really is.
Yeah, he is.
The Doug Jones of creature features.
Yeah.
He's great. I mean, there's so many people that come up in this though. And then you get. I won't tell you, Dan, because I don't want to spoil it for you. But you get name drops of certain people. It's like, wait, is that who they just said that is? That can't be who this. That is who they just said that is. It's fantastic. It's really. It takes a little bit to go, and then once you're watching, it's like I can't stop. Just can't stop.
Have you guys seen Black Panther 2?
No, I have not.
Yes, I did.
Okay, what'd you think, Dan? Let's not do spoilers. But let's.
I'm not gonna do spoilers. It was long. It was a long movie. It was longer than it needed to be, and that's not just me. That's not just me saying that.
I've seen a lot of critics say that.
You know, my son is 10 years old, and I can tell when his head goes on my shoulder, that means
it's a little long.
The movie is long and it's slowing down. I thought Namor was great. I didn't mind any of the changes that they made to him. I thought it kind of fit. They made it fit. You know, people get upset when they change things from established characters, but when they do it in a way that it makes sense and it fits and it adds a layer to the story, I'm okay with that. Okay with that. So, you know, changing his background, I mean, they were like Mayans or something, right? They were like an offshoot of the Mayans. Yeah. I didn't mind that. It was very emotional when they dealt with the reasons that Chadwick Boseman is not there.
Yeah.
When they did this is not a spoiler, but you know, when they do the Marvel logo at the beginning, when you see clips inside the letters and it shows all the previous Marvel films, there was no music and it was all Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, nice.
And
they did the same thing for Stan Lee.
Yeah, but you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
In that theater, and it was emotional, and I'm getting emotional right now just talking about it. I could see my son. My son looked over at me, and I could see that it affected him.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy with how they handled the in-universe loss of him, and there's an extra scene at the end, which is also very emotional without getting into specifics. And I think with the coming storylines that are coming in the next few Avengers movies with time travel and alternate this and alternate that and timey-wimey, I think we're going to come out on the other side of that with a different MCU, with a different history than what we've already seen on film. And I think that will correct the fact that we don't have T'Challa as Black Panther.
It feels like they're
in
going
the
to reboot
MCU.
everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're going to come out with a different continuity at the other end, which is probably why they're so willing to do some crazy things right now, like bring back all these old Spider-Mans and throw them in. We're going to have 3 Spider-Mans on screen because it doesn't matter. In 7 years, it's all going to be, rebooted.
Because they start over again.
Yeah, they have to do something in order to bring the X-Men into the continuity. They have to do some major changes, and this is the only really way they could do it, is by resetting everything. So I guess they're trying to kick that can down the road with Black Panther until that. So then there'll be a different person in that role, and it won't really matter because everything will be different. But it was a good movie. Wasn't a great movie.
Huh.
It was long to sit through. I think they crammed.
Is it on Disney
much.
right now, or is it in theaters only?
No,
No,
just came out.
it's still in the theater.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out this weekend. It's good. I liked it a lot.
What I really liked, the main plot about how Wakanda controls all of the vibranium in the world, and because of that, the rest of the world sees them as a threat.
Yeah.
And it's affecting politics in the world. I don't want to get into too much. I thought that was just fantastic.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, the idea with the character who they need to hook up with at the college, I felt that was incredibly shoehorned in. It didn't really make sense. It is what it is.
Yeah, she could have been left out.
Yes, she absolutely could have been left out. I don't think the character makes sense.
Yeah.
No idea what you're talking about. I have to go watch it.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not.
We're trying to be vague on purpose.
Trying to be spoiler free, but she's basically doing things like it's nothing that 10 years earlier, Tony Stark, the smartest man in the world, had a hard time doing. And I just don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. I like the movie a lot. I thought it was interesting to make Talocan so Mesoamerican. I thought that was a fun twist. Definitely want to make him different than Aquaman, or else there would have been a lot of direct comparisons. So I get the reason for a change. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I do hear a lot of people saying that they felt it was long. I didn't feel that way, but I was really enraptured in it. So that's fine. But yeah, overall, good story, good acting. Angela Bassett deserves some sort of Oscar nomination, I think. She was phenomenal in this movie.
She's won an Oscar before, hasn't she?
I think she's been nominated before. I don't know if she's
never won.
But I could be wrong. Yeah. But yeah, she definitely deserves some sort of nomination for something. But it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Did you? Well, I guess a question for you that I could ask anytime. But did you guys hear about this talk about rebooting the Hunger Games? Is that right, or is that just fake, or did someone make that up?
I'm sure they've talked about it, because who doesn't like money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we
just like that. Eventually at some point they're gonna reboot the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh,
those things
Lord.
have made so much money. How could you not?
I've only seen the first one.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to switch off the headphones because I'm at 4%. I had to.
Okay. Well, we better wrap it up.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. So we're just shooting the shit at this point.
Okay.
All right. So, of course, give us a phone call, 816-287-0448. Call us and talk to us about anything. It does not matter what you leave on that voicemail. We will play it, as long as it's not lewd and crude. That's my role here on the show. Then, of course, you can also go over and visit us on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Daniel does a fantastic job on the Instagram, by the way. If you're not following him over there, you really should. All of that's Trekcast. And, of course, the email is trekcasttng@gmail.com, chadiswrong@gmail.com. You can email us that as well if you don't want to leave a voicemail. Give us your feedback, thoughts as we get closer to the end of the year. We've got the year in review episode coming up towards the end of the year, right around New Year's Day or whatever we're going to do it. I don't know, sometime end of December. I know we've talked about doing that a couple times, right? Am I saying wrong? I can see your look on your face, Daniel. You're like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
No, we talked about doing like a year in review, right?
Oh yeah.
That's
Your
what I
work
mean.
show as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's all I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. I'll stop talking.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Here's the outro.
Well, there you have it, another episode in the can. Check us out at trekcast.com. Also, if you would, please subscribe to us via iTunes. Leave those reviews, subscribe to us, we'll get some numbers, get up the list, get more listeners, do more shows, have more fun. But for now, we're all done. So live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Nice. All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.